Hey Survivor, welcome to episode 94 of the Vibrant Survivor podcast. In this episode, I'm going to help you identify and navigate 7 narcissistic courtroom behaviors so you can respond instead of react. By the way, check out episode 83 for more on this subject of narcissism in court and share it with a friend. Before we get into today's topic, let's self-regulate with a 4-4-8 breathing exercise if you'd like. We'll inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 8. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How does that feel? Grab your notebook and pen, and let's dig in. Hey Survivor, welcome to the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Do you want to disconnect from a narcissistic or toxic situation and heal? Are you Googling how to identify a narcissist, narcissistic abuse, and boundaries? Are you feeling stressed and lonely while trying to avoid being sucked back in and lied to again? Hey, I'm Lesley. As a busy wife and mom, I fell for the lies and manipulations of narcissists. I wasted my time, talents, and money on users who kept moving the goalposts. I wanted real relationships and business opportunities and to enjoy life with my family. Instead, I struggled with anxiety, panic attacks, and insomnia, and I couldn't trust my body or anybody until I took a holistic approach to healing. In this podcast, you'll find tips for healthy living, trauma healing, and boundaries so that you'll have the freedom, confidence, and inner peace to respond, not react, after narcissistic abuse. Take a deep breath in, let it out slowly, and just relax. This time's for you. Hey Survivor, do you want to heal after narcissistic abuse? Come and join me in a closure coaching session. This is a 1-hour, one-on-one coaching call that's going to help you disconnect from dysfunction, create your own closure, and begin a long-lasting journey of healing, step by step. Head right now to closurecoachingsession.com. This week, I went to court to support a friend whose son was assaulted by a group of teenage boys. And the defendant in this case was the last of the boys to have his day in court and discuss a plea agreement that was on the table, or is on the table. And side note, everyone else in this case, all of the other defendants, took the plea agreement. This guy took exception. And while what unfolded during the hearing wasn't shocking to me, it was definitely frustrating and disappointing, to say the least. Teen violence is a huge issue nationwide. Maybe you are seeing some of the behaviors in your area. The kids are not okay. And if you take a closer look behind the scenes, you'll find adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, generational trauma, families in Hulk brain mode, acting out based on what has happened or is currently happening to them. It's sad, it's stressful, and our system is not designed or fully equipped, I'm learning, to make anyone whole on either side of the equation. So no one really wins. Here's help identifying and navigating 7 narcissistic courtroom behaviors. Number 1, pride. Narcissists often use pride to mask deeply rooted insecurities and even dominate courtroom interactions. And image is everything. They may even come across as cocky, and it can kind of throw you off a little bit, like, okay, what are you doing? Like, you're in a lot of trouble here, and things are really going to get worse for you. So you might want to tone it down a little bit. But that's kind of the point, is to throw you off balance and to project an image of confidence, if not cockiness, and some kind of sense of control, even when things are clearly out of control. For you, Survivor, remain calm and centered. Take some deep breaths if you need to, and like the 448 breathing exercise that we do every week. And don't get drawn into the posturing, because it's just that, posturing. Deep down, there's a lot of insecurity, a lot of turmoil, a lot of chaos in their lives. And don't be fooled by, them suiting up, or in this case, putting a uniform on and giving off the appearance of productivity, control, discipline, etc. Number 2, selfishness. Oftentimes this shows up as just a disregard, a blatant disregard for you or anyone else. And it's solely about the narcissist and their needs and their life and what they've got going on. Never mind the fact that they've completely turned your life upside down, say in a crime or some other court situation. It could be a divorce or a child custody hearing. In this case, I was in court with my friend, and his life has completely been turned upside down, and his son is actually living in another country right now because of all of the drama and chaos and harassment and stalking that he endured on top of the actual assault. And in this particular court hearing, the narcissist and his attorney seemed to forget about the fact that the reason that everybody was there was because of, in part, of his behavior, along with these other boys that were accomplices. So he instead wanted to focus more on the fact that he had just become a dad and he had gotten a job and all these other things, and what he needed, what he wanted in terms of the plea agreement, adjustments made, changes, and things of that nature. And it's like, wait a minute, what? Anyway, in this case, survivor, it's important to stick to the facts and to stand your ground. And if you have the opportunity to do so, to verbalize, or maybe have your advocate verbalize your situation, your circumstances, your needs, or even remind the defendant how they've impacted your life. You may even be able to make a victim impact statement, which can be very, very powerful. And sometimes you may feel like it's not worth your while, or you may or may not be given the opportunity, but if you do have the opportunity to do so, it can be a powerful way to send a message. Number 3, entitlement. Narcissists often believe that the rules do not apply to them and that they deserve special treatment. And this hearing was no exception. And specifically, the conversation and the entitlement came about when discussing the terms of the plea agreement that's on the table. And while all of the other defendants took the plea agreement, this guy decided to request some other terms, and he wanted to, do things a certain way. And I get it. I mean, there's some heavy consequences for the behavior that took place, and a lot of lives have been changed. And while, there's been a lot of updates to his life, there's still this unfinished business of, consequence of the behavior that was involved in the assault. So in this case, you may need to take a step back, survivor, even if it's just emotionally. Take a step back from the entitlement that you've been exposed to, and let the judge or your attorney or other advocate explain things to the defendant so that they are clear as to what the terms and conditions are, what kind of impact or what kind of consequences they may be able to expect based on their behavior, so that you're not getting involved in that and getting tangled up in that. Because it can be very, very frustrating, challenging, awkward, and you don't need that. Your health and well-being should be your focus. Number 4, the stare down. This is an intimidation tactic that narcissists often use, where they will fixate on you, stare you down, maybe, look you up and down. And it is designed to throw you off guard, to, unnerve you or others. If you've got other people with you, like my friend did, there were a few of us that went to support him. And I noticed several occasions where the narcissist was staring at all of us at one point. And, just really kind of a mean, fixed gaze, like as if we were inconveniencing him or he was being inconvenienced by the court hearing and all of that, and just seething underneath and maybe even contemplating revenge. And again, the whole reason that we were there was because of his behavior and others. So in this case, you'll want to avoid eye contact. You can divert your gaze and focus on your support network. That's really what we tried to do the other day in court. And maybe say some encouraging words if you're there supporting someone. But if it's you, survivor, then really fixating on the people who are in your corner, who are there for you, and not focusing so much on the narcissistic stare down. It happens a lot. And this is not the first time I've heard of or seen a narcissistic individual who is in the defendant position do this to the victim or their support network. So, intimidation tactic, that's what you need to keep in mind. Focus elsewhere. Number 5, smirking. Smirking can communicate contempt, superiority, boredom, or just even an attempt to try to provoke an emotional reaction out of you or others. And I referenced episode 83 where I talked about narcissistic smirking in court. And it's frustrating. It can be shocking, especially if, you're really focused on the discussion and handling of a really serious issue or offense like assault. And it can come off as just not taking things seriously and, just really dissociating with consequence, behavior, reality. So you'll want to find friendly faces in your supporters and avoid the narcissistic smirk. If you have loved ones with you, lock in with them. Maybe even an appointed victim advocate, like my friend had one as well, and really focusing on those individuals and maybe even making a connection with them to avoid the narcissistic smirk. Number 6, stalling. Okay, the delays and postponements that narcissists use are designed, again, to frustrate and wear down the victim in court. And we saw this the other day. At one point, the defendant and his attorney asked to leave the courtroom to have a discussion about his options, and they were gone for a little while. And, it actually contributed to the dragging out of the hearing. And you would think that, again, with everyone else taking the plea agreement, that, he would just take the plea agreement. And no, they decided to take a meeting in the midst of the hearing, and we were all kind of sitting there waiting for them to finish. And it happens quite a bit. And this is an opportunity for you to get in your head or to get upset and to get in your feelings and maybe even react, visibly react in court. And the narcissist will get a kick out of it, actually, and feel like they're doing something. So, tip here, survivor, don't take the bait. And I would add to not divulge too much and to stick to the facts and deadlines and know your rights in the situation. And this was something that my friend did the other day, where he asked questions, direct questions when given the opportunity, and was very matter of fact about it, and also stated his needs and requirements and, the boundaries that he was operating under, and his desires and what he wanted to see in terms of an outcome and what he could and could not do realistically, and really insisted that his needs be accommodated as well. And I thought that the prosecuting attorney did a great job of reiterating the facts, timelines, and also the rights of the victim and just the reality that the victim is living with, which I think gets lost a lot in narcissistic courtroom situations. Number 7, Schadenfreude. Narcissists often take pleasure in making others miserable. They love others' discomfort, especially when they feel like they're doing something or like they're winning. And we saw a little bit of this as well in the courtroom this week, where the defendant, at one point, I literally watched the defendant kind of leap up from his chair a little bit when my friend mentioned that it was going to be challenging for him to get his son to come to the trial to testify or identify the defendant as one of the assailants. And it was almost like the defendant lit up a little bit at the thought of that hardship, and or what he perceived to be my friend's hardship. And it was really kind of sad, because it was so obvious to me that the defendant was just trying to grasp on to any kind of sense of power or control in the situation, when really the reality is, dude, you're in a lot of trouble here, and you're not taking this seriously, you're not sorry, and, that's not okay. And it's really unfortunate, but he seemed to really enjoy the fact that it was going to be difficult to some degree for my friend to get his son to appear at a trial at a future date. So in this case, survivor, it's important to stay grounded, stay guarded, and to focus on your mental health and not the reactions as immature, out of touch, or just flat out mean, inconsiderate, selfish, rude they may seem. It's not really about you at the end of the day. There's a whole lot of other stuff going on beneath the surface that, is just not you. It's nothing to do with you. And it's kind of sad that the narcissistic or toxic individual has to grasp on to others' pain to be propped up themselves. Let's recap 7 narcissistic courtroom behaviors. Number 1, pride. Number 2, selfishness. Number 3, entitlement. Number 4, the stare down. Number 5, smirking. Number 6, stalling. Number 7, Schadenfreude. Remember, when navigating narcissistic courtroom behavior, respond, don't react, and never waver. Thanks for tuning in, Survivor. I hope this helps you to minimize any courtroom drama now or in the future. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. If this podcast has helped you understand who and what you're dealing with, sharpen your discernment, and move forward on your healing journey, share it with another survivor. Help me help others by leaving a review for the show. And let's connect on social. Take a screenshot, share it in your IG stories, find and tag me at The Vibrant Survivor, and I'll share your post too. I look forward to connecting with you on IG and seeing you back here. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with, know who you are. Take care, and I'll meet you back here next week. Bye-bye.